Alright guys, so you know what time it is. Let's talk about the SEO BRICS and how the plan to corner the US is fast becoming a reality. Now I want to be clear, this move to break away from the US is a self-inflicted wound made worse by Trump. For many months now, the tariff war has pissed off the global majority, and with India getting targeted, there's no doubt left. Loyalty is not rewarded in the case of the G7, and trying to hedge with the US is a losing game in the case of India. You can't play both sides forever. And it's no surprise that Modi was seen hugging and hand-holding with Putin. It's all about hanging with the boys in the BRICS. There's no alternative, and this is really a disaster for Washington. Now imagine the insane combination. India has a growing pool of skilled and affordable labor. Russia has all the commodities any country needs, from energy all the way to metals, and China provides the manufacturing capabilities and the ecosystem. By China's taking the offensive here, they are now moving towards blocking off the exits and to ensure members of the SEO get all the money they need. The plan is to help the global south survive and thrive. Now, Beijing has promised SEO members more investments and loans to all partners, and this is the big push that will close off any US interference in the future long after Trump. In addition, China wants to set up a SEO development bank to counter the Cold War mentality and all the bullying practices. And he obviously meant a tariff war by Trump and the US shakedown of the world couldn't be more clear. And this is where Trump's tariff war really screwed things up. Yes, the plan is to force US companies and global firms to invest only in the US. However, it also means the US can't build up their supply chains overseas. And this is very important. Imagine the outrage if Trump pledges billions of dollars to India, Indonesia, or even Russia. His voter base will lose their minds. And this is where China essentially checkmated Trump. Now, China will provide 2 billion RMB in grants as well as 10 billion in loans to the group. It seems like a drop in the ocean, but it's still meaningful, especially when the US has their hands tied. And with Chinese money, SEO members can start developing their economies, and they could be building new factories or power plants. And guess which country is going to supply the raw materials like solar panels? It's going to be China. Now, Beijing is basically vendor financing themselves to help build the global south. Imagine that, a self-sufficient ecosystem completely separate from the West. And this is why the move is quite earth-shattering. China wants to block Trump away from global supply chains in Central Asia. Now, the macro game here is very simple. Central Asia is home to some of the largest untapped reserves of rare earth minerals. All SEO members are sitting on a treasure trove, but only one of them has the capabilities, technology, and resources to extract the minerals, and that's China. Now, in this grand poker game, China saw the US twitch their eyes and do an obvious tell, and that's how silly things have become. They cannot afford to invest overseas, so Beijing is driving forward to develop a complete monopoly on critical minerals. The SEO, BRICS, and Global South is the future. Now, the big lure of the US economy comes from its consumption. The US consumer will spend and spend no matter what. They will swipe their credit cards and keep buying stuff. However, things are not going well. Tariffs have taken a toll on US budgets. And just because people are paying more doesn't mean they are getting value. They are paying more, but they're getting less. Now, real US consumption has dropped like a rock since the tariff war started. The 6-month change has gone from positive 4% down to near zero. And if it plunges down to the negatives, we will be in recession territory. However, BRICS as a whole is going to get richer and richer. And now that India, Russia, and China, they are getting together, we have the trifecta of industry: labor, commodities, and technology all rolled up in one. And that's why the SEO meeting is a gathering of the BRICS giants, really, to see how to corner the US economy, how to get back the leverage and remove Trump's leverage in this trade war. Now, the biggest whammy in this would be the threat posed to the US dollar. As the SEO develops, more commodities will flow out to the global economy, and most likely they'll circulate around BRICS, who will consume most of it. And guess which currency will be used to settle this big boom in trade? In January to June, China's trade with BRICS and its partners exceeded 6 trillion RMB, and that's a 4% increase, hitting $855 billion worth. Remember, this is during Trump's tariff war that is nuking global trade. Now the opportunities for de-dollarization are going to grow. India has no choice but to trade more with China, and they will continue to buy more Russian oil. And soon enough, Central Asia will start exporting more commodities. And because China is the one investing, they will be dictating the terms of settlements. And this means selling these minerals in RMB, definitely not in dollars. Let's touch a bit on the India and China reset as well. And for many years, things have gone nowhere. It was either the border dispute problem or India trying to play both sides to get US investments. But now things are really clear, aren't they? The 50% tariff is enough to wake up Modi to the plain and simple fact. He cannot abandon China, he cannot abandon Russia, and if you ignore one, that means ignoring the other as well. Now, Besant himself just joked about India's currency. It's obvious he doesn't respect the rupee and even laughed about it.
Do you worry that India is going to set trade in the rupee and they'll do trade with the rupee currency with the BRIC nations instead of the U.S. dollar?
There are a lot of things I worry about. The rupee becoming a reserve currency isn't one of them.
Right. No, I thought you would say that.
It's, on this trade problem with us, I think the rupee is near an all-time low versus the U.S. dollar.
Yeah, great point.
Now, Besant isn't afraid of the rupee, de-dollarization, or BRICS, but he's becoming an ostrich with his head buried in the ground. The dollar itself has lost 10% of its value in the last 8 months. Meanwhile, India is moving ahead with their purchase of Russian oil. It's a pushback against Trump himself. And a big shout out to our sponsor today, Indigo Precious Metals. When it comes to buying gold and silver, I trust Indigo Precious Metals in Singapore. They have made investing in precious metals safe, fast, easy, and simple for both small and large scale buying. I've been stacking gold for over a decade now, and I've learned two things when buying. You want to buy authentic gold bullion, and you want to buy it at the lowest premium possible to stretch your dollars even further. And I'm glad to say I found both of this at Indigo Precious Metals. Indigo Precious Metals is a leading retailer in Singapore. They specialize in physical gold, silver, and platinum. They are my one-stop shop when it comes to buying bullion. Their prices are sharp, and they have the best brands on sale, and I can test the gold on the spot. So if you're looking to make your first gold purchase, Indigo Precious Metals is the best place to start. Whether it's 1 ounce or 1 kilo, this is the reputable dealer you are looking for. So take action today. Click on the link below and enjoy a discount on your first purchase with the code SEANFOO. Start your gold stacking journey today. India's oil minister is pushing back against the US. They will keep buying Russian crude. Now, the argument is quite sound. If India didn't buy Russian supplies, the global price of oil would spike higher because now there's a massive shortage. The only way to enforce this is to impose a global ban. But that is unthinkable. There's no way to ensure every country stops dealing with Russia. Now, Trump has already imposed a global tariff and he has run out of cards. Beyond just oil, India's big reset with BRICS is going to throw more spanners into the machinations of Washington. And this goes further than India China restarting direct flights. That's just the icing on the cake, guys. A few months back, Lutnick was furious about India buying weapons outside the United States. Well, he's about to get even more angry because India probably is going to buy even less US weapons now. So far, India has contracted over $20 billion worth of US defense articles, and this represents around 8.7% of India's total share. Weapons from Israel has increased by a lot, but a bigger share still comes from Russia. Now, Russian weapons represents 40% of India's total arms purchase, and because of the tariffs, it's going to be even less likely for India to buy US weapons going forward. So Boeing, Lockheed, and Raytheon, they will be facing hard times ahead. In addition to that, Russia won't demand dollars from India for their gear. So another de-dollarization shock for the US economy is coming. Everything is coming to a head now. But let's talk a bit about silver today. And for the longest time, I've been a silver investor as long as I've bought gold. Look at the maples behind me, right? look at the eagles behind me. Silver's bull run is getting a lot of steam since 2011. Now, the silver price has gone above $40, a 14-year high, and I want us to remember how big this gain has been in 2025. Now, we are talking about a 40% gain that blows out the S&P, gold, and even Chinese stocks. And very soon, we could be testing $41 silver or higher, and it's a reflection of two major things. Now, big one is the US dollar collapsing like a rock. And since silver is denominated in dollars, naturally the price will go higher. And this is a consequence of the trade war. But we shouldn't get it twisted. This started way before Trump took office, way before the tariff war. It really started when the Russia-Ukraine war began after the asset confiscation. Now, gold and silver prices essentially doubled over the past 2 years. In fact, silver went above 130%. So if you own a bunch of silver bars or eagles or maples, you are a happy camper today. We now have persistent tightness in the London market because traders and investors they are withdrawing the metal. Even lease rates, which were normally zero, have jumped up by 200 basis points. So even borrowing physical silver today is getting tougher and more expensive. You need silver to make EVs or solar panels. Well, now you need to pay more because the metal is getting more and more unobtainable. Now, the world has no idea if silver will get tariffed or sanctioned away tomorrow, because if it does, then the price will go ballistic. On the other hand, the US themselves might be moving to stockpile silver to fight the economic war. The US government is about to add silver to their list of critical minerals, and it seems the smart money probably knew it was going to happen. Silver is up over 36% in the past 12 months and up 5% in the last 30 days. So, what does it mean by being on this critical minerals list? Either the US government will try to develop more of their own mines, or they will have to begin a strategic stockpile of the metal. Now, developing a mine in the US, even with all the grants, is extremely prohibitive, very expensive, and probably doesn't make financial sense. The total cost of production just won't cut it. It's more likely the US will be moving to buy up critical minerals and metals when the time comes, and that could definitely include silver, especially when Trump wants to reshore US industries. So it shouldn't be surprising that the price of silver is cracking $40, dollar weakness, and just fiat currencies in general are losing value like never before. Silver is an essential metal, and chances are there will be even more applications down the road we just don't know yet, probably much more than just EVs, solar panels, or semiconductors. Gold, for example, is showing us the shift towards real stores of value is accelerating. We are headed back to the good old days of real money. Gold share of global reserves have risen to 24% this year, the highest in the last 3 decades. Meanwhile, the dollar share declined to 42%, and that's the lowest since the mid 1990s. Apart from the dollar, gold is now the second largest reserve asset in the world. And if we look at the period before 1990, gold was actually the main reserve asset central banks held. It now looks like we are reverting back to that time period where the dollar and other currencies are pushed away from real money. And if this continues, it won't be surprising if silver actually makes a comeback or enters the list. Looking at the chaos going on is probably going to happen, especially if the US starts stockpiling the metal. But let me know what you think. Did BRICS, did China just corner the US economy? And how high will the silver price go? Let me know in the comments below. Stay safe. Be sure to smash the like button and subscribe as we navigate through these crazy times.